Raptors training camp day 2 from Victoria. Not quite the sunshine that they saw yesterday, but despite it all, training camp rolls on from the University of Victoria. Welcome inside the gym at UVic. Paul Jones alongside Matt Devlin. And Matt, day 2, high-intensity practices, high-intensity workouts. You and I joked last night as we sat and put weight on at dinner that training camps aren't the same like they were 15, 20 years ago where guys come to get in shape. They're in shape and hitting the ground when they're ready to go here.
Well, that's certainly the case. And I think the thing that stands out, too, is the continuity. Remember this time last year, Pascal Siakam, right, wasn't ready for training camp because he was coming back from surgery. So now all of a sudden, this starting 5, plus the depth that we talked about yesterday, it's there. They know what to do. Right. And then you have Fred VanVleet. Right? The heart and soul.
And let's talk about that. Fred is the guy, as you said, the heart and soul, the leader on this team. And last year was new for him, too. His first year without Kyle. He'd learned a lot from Kyle, playing in a new role as the lead guard, as the leader on the team. He's got some more experience doing that this year.
He certainly does. And I think, Jonesy, it's interesting because you go back to 2019 when the Raptors won a title. I don't think people realize how much of a vocal leader Fred was even then, right? He almost has that sense of a born leader. And, you know, he was somebody during that stretch. He's been used to leading. Kyle Lowry was a leader, but he led in a different way. You know, Kyle was, hey, we're going out for a team meal, right? He would organize those things. He'd provide presents for players and take players out, rookies out, right, shopping and doing all those amazing things. But then, you know, there were times where, you know, Fred VanVleet stood up and said something, and he has a total respect of that room. And the other thing, and we heard Kevin Durant say it, right? You know, put a stamp on it. He has respect throughout the entire league, and he became a first-time All-Star, Freddie All-Star. And I think that that's just something that's going to continue to grow and build in his portfolio.
Rare a guy goes undrafted yet becomes an NBA All-Star. There were a myriad of topics that Fred addressed today when he spoke with the media.
Can you talk about the development of Precious that you've seen over the last year? And just like how important is developing those kids and what you saw with Versatility as well?
Yeah, I mean, night and day as who I saw his first time in the gym last year and then to who he is today. So, again, you got to give credit to Precious and his work and his work ethic and his, you know, his dedication to, his dedication to continue to get better. He's found more touch around the rim, which is great to see, but I was most impressed with his one-on-one defense on the perimeter. He guarded some of the best in the league, better than anybody I've seen, and I think that's a valuable asset for us this year.
Does your team feel bigger? I mean, you've got Chris, who's really kind of established himself, Precious, as you point out, Juancho. You don't have like that one monster, but does it feel like a bigger team?
It's always the same to me. It all looked the same to me out there, but definitely a lot of arms and legs flying around everywhere, and you could just see it. Like, it doesn't look like much when they're all standing next to each other, but when it's moving up and down, and you can always tell when we play another team that, you know, they can feel the presence that we have out there, and we just got to continue to try to enforce that.
All right, there's Fred VanVleet. Matt, something that you talked about right off the top, and it resonated with me, continuity. It's different this year. Not so many new faces. Guys have played together. They've had the summer together. And one of the guys that really comes to mind is Precious Achiuwa. He really, really came on over the second part of last year and did a terrific job in the playoffs. And we talk about people making a jump. Everybody's looking for a jump from Precious this year.
Yeah, and it's the continued work that he puts in. And I go back to last year, in the second half of the season, he comes down, pulls up, makes a transition 3, remember? Yeah. And everybody said, oh.
No, Precious.
No, it's good. And he buries it. Yeah. It was about a week or so later, I was in the gym after practice, And guess who's working on transition threes?
Yeah.
Precious Achiuwa, right? So we've talked before about the known development that the Raptors have and the players that buy in and the players that expand their game. And he is somebody that his game continues to expand. He's comfortable coming off the bench. He's comfortable starting. He can guard multiple, which is so key. Now all of a sudden, you're starting to see what he can also do offensively. And, it's going to be his third year in the league. And we know when you go back to his time in Miami, as he said, hey.
He was in a box.
Yeah, that's exactly, this is what we want from you. And, here it took some time, right? Because all of a sudden you have all these options, you have everything, but that's right there at your hands. And what's amazing about Nick Nurse and the staff is that they allow you to make mistakes and grow. And to me, we're just starting to see this with Precious.
We're both fathers, Matt.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like giving your kid the freedom to stay out late, and you hope that they make good decisions. Precious had that freedom last year, and there were times when it was like he would come home to bed because he knew he needed to rest. He didn't need to be out all night. Anyway, he's improved. He talked about his summer, his improvement, and what he expects from his team this year. Here's Precious Achiuwa.
Just ask Chris, how much different does camp feel? I know it's still early, but from a year ago when a lot of new faces, you were one of the new faces, a lot of young guys. You got continuity this year, a lot of guys back. Does it feel like you guys are able to kind of pick up where you left off?
Yeah, I think it's a lot different from this year and last year. Just kind of like how you said, there's a lot of familiar faces. It's not a lot of new guys. Guys are familiar with each other, understand each other's game patterns and all that kind of stuff. So I think it don't feel fresh. It's kind of like we understand each other's game and we're just picking up from where we left off last year.
Who did you spend most of the time with this summer in terms of teammates?
In terms of teammates,
right?
OG. Yeah, me and OG, we got in the gym a few times this summer.
Is it? I mean, when you come back, obviously you come back a different player than you were. How are you doing?
Every part of my game has been, in my opinion, has been getting better. That's a big emphasis of mine. That was a big emphasis of mine and still is. Just trying to get better all around when it comes to my game.
We thank Matt Devlin for his thoughts. Day 2 of training camp for the Toronto Raptors as they get prepared for the preseason and the 2022-2023 portion of the NBA calendar. Paul Jones inside the gym here at the University of Victoria. The Raptors in training camp. Everybody looking for this team to make a jump. They surprised people last year, came out of nowhere, got a top 6 spot, but they aren't satisfied with that. Nick Nurse is looking for improvement, and one of the guys he depended on last year and will depend on this year again is Chris Boucher. Take a look at this board. Chris Boucher played 80 games last year, very, very durable, averaging over 20 minutes a game and bringing that high energy and high intensity to the court for the Toronto Raptors. He has a high motor. Nick Nurse will depend on that again this year, and again, looking for Chris to make a jump. Nick on Chris Boucher.
Yeah, I think that there's always been our share of ups and downs, right? With his performance, play, his happiness, minutes, all that kind of stuff, right? Which, that's part of the growing process too. And I just think that I and we, the coaching staff, appreciate the things he does, and we try to get him to do those things because it's really a unique. He's kind of a unique player, in the league with that. Who blocks so many three-point attempts than Chris? Not hardly any. He does. Comes flying in for tip dunks. Like, he brings energy. He plays much tougher than his body might look, or whatever it is that makes him unique. And also, again, I think we accept the fact that he's not going to be great every night. There's some nights when he's, picking and popping and not hitting those, right? And he can't live in that world. Like that's always just extra for us. Continue to run, continue to crash class, continue to block shots, and continue to be that spirit, that force of spirit that he is out there and playing hard.
I know it's still early, but how different does camp feel this year compared to a year ago? A lot of like new faces, young guys last year, a little bit more continuity this year. Can you sort of feel that difference, and does it allow you to get off to a faster start as a team?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a less time for us to go by defense and all that. I think everybody's kind of used to what we're running, and we got most of the core young guys back, so you get to the drill pretty quick. So I think that's really helpful, and some of us been together all summer, so we kind of know each other a lot more. So it definitely helps.
Chris, what are you honing in on as you come into this season? I mean, you did such a great job of kind of drilling down into your role. And so now that you're comfortable with that, what do you do to kind of enhance what you were good at last year?
I'm just trying to bring whatever the team missed, whatever it's rebound, shooting, hustle, whatever it is. I mean, at this point, I've seen both seasons. I played a great defensive season. I played a great offensive season in Tampa. So I'm just trying to make both together. And obviously, I think I spent a lot of time this summer working on that, and not forgetting where I come from, what I've been doing that made me successful. But it's like I've been in the league for a long time now. I know the guys. I know what I have to bring, how I got to start a game, and that usually takes me a long way.
There you have it from Chris Boucher and Nick Nurse. And the tour continues. The country will get a look at the team as the Raptors roll into Edmonton on October 2nd to take on the Utah Jazz, part of the NBA Canada Series. They will bookend it with a game at the end of the preseason in Montreal. But Utah up first on October 2nd. That's it from training camp today here in Victoria. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next episode right here on NBA TV Canada.